Joe Hopkins here, and today I'm doing a comparison, not of guitars. That'd be a little unfair. This is a Strat style guitar. This is a Les Paul style guitar. Although, you know, you got your standard Fender Gibson type comparisons. But no, today we are comparing guitar companies. By the way, if you hear noise in the background, it is storming like crazy outside right now, right? There's wind, there's rain, my kid was asking, is there a tornado? And there isn't a tornado, right? But yeah, how kids are, sometimes they get scared, right? We all get scared. Sometimes the futility and shortness of life frightens us all. But I digress. And we're talking about guitars, which is a subject that makes me forget the futility and shortness of life. It makes me forget about how fragile and insignificant we are. It's a subject that I enjoy. So let's talk about guitars. Well, guitar companies. Hardluck Kings versus Wolf AIO, right? I say Wolf AIO because all-in-one guitar sells Wolf and AIO, and they're roughly like the same guitars, right? The AIOs, they have a couple different types than they do their Wolf, but they're like same thing. Okay. So these are both guitar companies based in, I believe they're both in Southern California. They both make, short production run custom type guitars at reasonable prices, right? So let's start with the types of guitars they make. I gotta say, Wolf makes more traditional type guitars. They both make pretty, standard Strat, Les Paul, some other types, Telecaster, standard type electric guitars, right? As far as finishes and look, the Wolves seem to be much more traditional, kind of like this. It's a white Les Paul. Now it's got a lot of abalone. It's got the abalone inlays and the abalone binding and abalone on the headstock. There you go. A whole lot of bling, gold hardware and pickups, and very blinged out, but like a traditional guitar. Hardluck Kings is a little bit different. You don't have the bling. You don't have the abalone. You don't have a lot of the fancy stuff. It seems a lot more, in a lot of ways, a little more stripped down, but with really wild finishes. You see the green, right? That's different. That's pretty wild. Now, Wolf, Wolf AIO, they have some of like the relic style guitars, and they have some really pretty finishes. They have some that are, but not like the wild, outlandish stuff that Hardluck Kings does. Hardluck Kings has some normal stuff like black, white, that kind of stuff, but they'll throw in like this crazy green or a pink or a black they had the one Telecaster style. It was black on the front with pink on the back and sides, and that looked really cool. So you can get some really wilder finishes, wilder colors, I would say. You get the more traditional and prettier finishes. A lot of them have the flamed and they're really pretty finishes, but a little more along the lines of what you'd find with other guitar makers from Wolf. As far as quality goes, you can see I own a Hardluck Kings and I own a Wolf. And as far as quality goes, I put them on par with each other from what I've seen. They're both very well-made instruments. They both play really well. These two have a different feel, obviously, because they're different types of guitars, right? Les Paul, Strat, that kind of thing. But in general, the quality, I'd say, is on par with each other. As far as, here's another thing. Both companies advertise their setup on their guitars, right? The difference is, Wolf, the setup is advertised as, it's a free setup. It's done, they just do it. On Hardluck Kings, you have to pay for it, for the setup and shipping. Setup and shipping on Wolf is free. I have, however, found that even with paying, and it's about $100 to do the setup and shipping, the price ends up more or less comparable between the two. If you want to get into price-wise, some models cost more from Wolf, some models cost more from Hardluck Kings, but in general, the prices are relatively comparable, even when you add the $100 for shipping and setup. You know, for instance, this Strat with shipping and setup was $300 roughly. This Les Paul was $450 with free shipping and setup. So, I mean, and it's the same, they're Les Paul style guitars from Hardluck Kings. You add the price of the shipping and setup, and it's not that much more or less than AIO Wolf. It seems like, you know, the difference is they charge you for it, and this one is just added into the price automatically. And as far as that setup goes, they both do pretty much the same thing, right? You have the fretwork, right? Leveling, polishing, crowning, all that stuff. And they both do an excellent, excellent job. I'd say, yeah, they're pretty well comparable to each other. They both do truss rod adjustment, intonation, the action, they adjust the action on them, and they're both pretty comparable. Now, the action on each of these guitars is different, but that is because they ask you, you know, or you can request specifically what type of action height you want. I got it really low on this and medium low on this. It's not high, it's not even medium, but it's higher than it is on this one. I got that on purpose. I got exactly what I asked for, right? I wanted it a little bit higher on this because I wanted a Strat, and I was planning on, well, I'm using this a lot more often for rhythm, and I'm using it a lot more often when I get out a slide. You know, I'm more likely to get a slide out on this. With this, I don't know, using a slide might be kind of hard. I got the action done really low, so you're going to scrape frets all the time, you know? I wanted the action a little bit higher on this. But my point is their setups are pretty comparable to each other. They both did an absolutely stupendous job, which has to be mentioned. I mean, doing a setup on a guitar isn't science. It's kind of an art. There's a lot of feel to it, especially when you're doing intonation. If you've ever intonated a guitar, you know that you can tune it, especially with a highly accurate tuner, exactly with an open string. But as soon as you press it down on the 12th fret to make sure that it's the same note open and on the 12th fret, yeah, depending on how hard you press it, changes the note. And you got to check it throughout the neck and all that kind of stuff. Intonating a guitar, in fact, doing a setup at all of it, there's a lot of feel to it. It really is an art form, and both companies did a great job. Whoever is doing their setups for either company, they did really, really well. Honestly, I would say they're definitely comparable companies. In fact, I can't really point out any one thing that I really like about one better than the other. Which, I know, I'm supposed to be comparing them, but my honest take is you could go with Wolf if you want a Wolf, you could go with Harluck Kings if you want a Harluck Kings, right? My recommendation, to be honest with you, would be to take a look and see which one has the guitar you want, right? You want a white Les Paul? Harluck King sells white Les Pauls, but they're not all blinged out like this. The Harluck King stuff, if you want something extreme, Wolf has some interesting finishes, but yeah, they're not going to get this. So there's the big difference, is the look of the guitars. Like I said, Harluck Kings is a lot more stripped down. So if you don't want all the bling, you don't want something quite as fancy looking, you might want to get a Harluck Kings, right? Or if you want a really crazy color, Harluck Kings is the way to go. If you want something more traditional, or Wolf AIO also has, like I said, they have their relic looking guitars for a lot of them. And they do have some really crazy finishes, but it's not these types of crazy finishes. It's worth looking at both companies, basically, is what I'm saying. Take a look, see which one sells the guitar you actually want. And yeah, I'd say go with either of them, man. I love both of these guitars for different reasons. Honestly, I've only had one problem with either of them. I had one small problem with my Harluck Kings, and that was definitely not their fault. About a week and a half after I got it, I had to adjust the truss rod just a little bit. And it came perfectly set up, and then after, you know, setting in the more humid environment here in West Virginia than where it came from Southern California, you know, it sits in that extra humidity for a little bit, and yeah, wood does stuff, right? So I had to make one small adjustment. Wasn't a big deal. you might not have that problem. Like I said, that's just because of where it came from and where it went to. And it took about a week and a half for the wood to really set in like that, for that to happen. It was great when I got it, which means it was great when they set it up. But yeah, in general, you want a good guitar, I'd go with either of these companies. And, you know, I do reviews on a lot of other really good budget guitars. The reason why I'm comparing these two primarily is they're very similar, from what I can tell, very similar companies that do a very similar thing, along with both of them advertise that setup. And, you know, that's a good thing. So, hey guys, tell me what you think. Leave a comment. Which of these is your favorite, right? Hey, and, you know, subscribe to my channel. Right down. There's a button down there, and there's a bell that does something, and there's other buttons. You could like me. There's a thumbs up. Yeah, that means you like me. Lick me, like me, lick, like, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, I hope this was informative. Let me know. All right, hey, peace out, baby. Bye-bye.